Hey there guys, GT5Man21 here, and today here is your review of the Malaysian Grand Prix from Kuala Lumpur. All I gotta say was it was a brilliant race. Now I can't remember the grid from the top of my head. All I know is the top six, I believe. And so it was a brilliant qualifying yet again. It was delayed for about 35 minutes, which I still don't understand why. People are now starting to complain about that. But eventually it did get going. And in the first qualifying session, it was, I believe, if I'm correct, in fact I can't even remember who was fastest in Q1, and nor can I remember who was fastest in Q2. But what we do know is that in Q3, in horrible conditions, it was Lewis Hamilton who yet again took pole position. Only 500ths faster than Sebastian Vettel. Sebastian Vettel showing that he has pace in that Red Bull. Then it was Nico Rosberg in third, with Fernando Alonso in fourth. Daniel Ricciardo managed fifth, with Kimi Raikkonen in sixth position. And then, in fact, I might even remember the whole grid. I think it was Nico Hulkenberg who was in seventh. I don't know, but yeah, I got the first thing prediction right. So let's move on to the race, and for a change no one stalled, which was surprising. So at the start, Lewis Hamilton made a fantastic start, got away from P1 and built up a gap. Nico Rosberg had a good start from third place, passing Sebastian Vettel to move up to second. And then Daniel Ricciardo got past Sebastian Vettel as well to move up to third. Fernando didn't have a good start as he got passed by Daniel Ricciardo and nearly got passed by his own teammate Kimi Raikkonen. But clearly Vettel had made a terrible start, so he had to get his foot down. And then but there was carnage before, well, at turn number 4 I believe. It was contact between, I believe it was Jules Bianchi and I think it might have been Daniel Kvyat. I think it was Kvyat. Well, I don't know who it was, but two people made contact at the back, which cost them dear. And so Lewis Hamilton had built a healthy gap already in the lead. Nico Rosberg had a bit of a gap ahead of the two Red Bulls. And then we got on to lap 3 where, well, before lap 3, people started to make pit stops for repairs. On lap 3, Sebastian Vettel eventually, no, lap 4, where am I going with this actually? Lap 3, some people came back into the pits, Kimi Raikkonen being one of them, as Kevin Magnussen hit his rear wheel, bit of damage to his front wing, and Kimi ended up with a puncture. And at the end of that, Kevin Magnussen ended up with actually I think it was a 10-second time penalty. Valtteri Bottas and Felipe Massa were doing a good job. Valtteri Bottas had a 3-place grid penalty for impeding Daniel Ricciardo, and it was first time it was used by the new penalty point system. It was put to the test as Valtteri Bottas has got 2 penalty points on his license. I think it goes up to 12 and then you're out. You get a race ban and then come back with 5 penalty points on your license. So Valtteri's got to be careful. That's another penalty that Valtteri's had. But they were doing a great job making it up the field. They were even pressurising Magnussen before he had the penalty. Sebastian Vettel eventually got past Daniel Ricciardo to move up to third so he could pursue his chase of Nico Rosberg. But he struggled as Hamilton was pulling away from Rosberg. Like, it was over 9 seconds before lap 10 even started. And Nico Rosberg was over 5 seconds ahead. So, overall, pretty good opening laps. And then Pastor Maldonado retired on lap 7, showing that Lotus still have problems. Grosjean was still running for a change. So battles began to here. Then we got to the first round of pit stops, and no changes in the leaderboard apart from Sebastian Vettel catching up to Nico Rosberg a bit more. The gap was about 6 seconds, and then it cut down to 2 seconds. So Sebastian had a chance for a second place. Mercedes wanted their first 1-2 since Italy 1955. That's a long time. But basically, Lewis just dominated the race so far and kept it under control. His first pit stop just kept the lead. Yeah, Kimi Raikkonen tried to make it up the field. There was a battle between, I believe it was Jean-Eric Vergne, and I think it was actually Jean-Eric Vergne who made contact at the turn 4, but whoever it was, it dropped him back. Had a go at Marcus Ericsson for 17th. The pair of them went off the racing line, not going off the track, but going off the racing line into turn 1. Kimi passed Jean-Eric Vergne, could have had a go at Marcus Ericsson, but couldn't quite find a way past. It was only until the next lap he took him for 17th, showing that the Caterhams can fight a little bit. I thought Kobayashi did a very good job. You know, just defending a few people before Daniel Kvyat got past him. Or was it Kvyat? I think I'll call him Kvyat. And Kvyat got up to 10th position. Second round of stops, again, no changes to the leaderboard, except Vettel got closer this time. He was in DRS range with Nico Rosberg. Sergio Perez never really got started on the grid. He retired before the race even got started, so disappointing for him. Then who was the next retirement? Actually, I can't even remember who the next retirement was. I'm gonna say that we'll skip a bit actually. The next retirement I'm gonna have to say was Adrian Sutil. He parked the car on the last corner, just before the last corner. He had a bit of an issue with his car, so retired from the race. And so it meant Sebastian Vettel wasn't able to get past Nico Rosberg, and because of that, Nico was able to pull a gap. Daniel Ricciardo had a bit of to defend Fernando Alonso as he was fighting for him, and a bit of the race, Nico Hülkenberg had a fight with them. Then I believe we got to the third round of stops, which was near the end of the race. Before that, though, Esteban Gutierrez also had a problem, and he retired from the race as well, which is kind of disappointing, really. So then we got to the second round of stops. Daniel Ricciardo, I believe, was the first one who pitted, but disaster for Daniel Ricciardo. A potential 4th place gone when the wheel nut, when his front right wheel nut did not connect to the car, and it was loose, and he had to stop halfway through the pit lane, which was the same as Jenson Button in 2013 last year. So the mechanics had to bring him back to the pit lane, or into his pit box, to put the tyre on. They struggled, but they eventually got him going. And because of that, it cost him a lap. The chance of 4th place was gone, and the person he was fighting with, Fernando Alonso, had already put a lap on him. So, pretty much, you know, it was downhill from Ricciardo. Things weren't about to get any better for Ricciardo, as he then, trying to think now, he then suffered a front wing failure on his car, and yeah, it was something to do with the curb, vibration on the curb, which damaged his front wing. He had to come back and get it repaired. He didn't notice it until it went loose and nearly went under the car. It was scraping on the tyre, making like a cut in the middle of the tyre. Had to come back, get the front wing repaired and the nose, but that cost him another lap, which it was going downhill then for Ricciardo. And then eventually, with 4 laps to go, Ricciardo retired. So, yeah, nothing that he could do there, Ricciardo. And then I can't remember who else retired. I'm trying to think now, guys. If I can remember who it is, I'll tell you. But at the moment, I really can't remember who was the other guy who you know, retired from the race, because I haven't even got the slightest clue who it was. Sorry about that, guys. Oh yeah, it was Jean-Eric Vergne. Jean-Eric Vergne retired as well before Ricciardo did. I think he also had a problem as well. But at the end, nothing really much happened. Nico Rosberg pulled away from Sebastian Vettel, pulled out 9 seconds. Fernando Alonso and Nico Hülkenberg had a fight at the end, but eventually Fernando Alonso beat him for 4th position. But at the end of the day, it was a dominating display by Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton went on to win the Malaysian Grand Prix and moves up to second place in the Drivers' Championship. Nico Rosberg crossed the line in second to make it the first Mercedes 1-2 since Italy 1955. A long time ago. And despite this, Nico Rosberg still leads the Drivers' Championship. Sebastian Vettel crossed the line in third, but he knows he has a long way to go before he can get up to where the Mercedes are, definitely. He moves up to 7th in the Drivers' Championship. So at the end of the day, it was Lewis Hamilton who took the win ahead of Nico Rosberg, with Sebastian Vettel 3rd, Fernando Alonso in 4th, with Nico Hülkenberg 5th. Jenson Button crossed the line in 6th despite his qualifying from 10th. And then it was Felipe Massa who finished 7th, ignoring the team orders to let Valtteri Bottas through. I wonder if they're going to have... I think they're going to have words with him after that, because he was supposed to let Valtteri through, but he didn't. I wonder if Williams are having words with him right now. So yeah, Valtteri Bottas finished 8th with, I believe... Who finished 9th? Now, I can't even remember who finished 9th, guys. That shows how thick my head is. Oh yeah, it was Kevin Magnussen who finished 9th, who was a lap down. And Daniel Kvyat gets another point on his debut in 10th. So the young 18-year-old doing a very, very good job. But surprise, Romain Grosjean held off Kimi Räikkönen to finish 11th, showing that Lotus, finally, after all the trouble that they had over testing in Australia, Romain Grosjean finished the Grand Prix. Maybe one place outside the points, but it seems to me that their reliability has somewhat a bit improved from Melbourne. They still have a long way to go to get in terms of the top guns, and maybe a bit more on reliability with Pastor Maldonado's car, but it seems that they are making progress on reliability and trying to get on terms with Red Bull, Toro Rosso and Caterham, who sorted out their issues with their Renault engines. So in the Drivers' Championship, Nico Rosberg leads ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who is in 2nd position. Then it's Fernando Alonso, who moves up to 3rd, with Jenson Button in P4. And then I believe it is, I think it's Kevin Magnussen, in fact, he's in 5th position, or is it Nico Hülkenberg? One of the two. Sebastian Vettel moves up to 7th, and that's all I can remember from the championship. All we know is that Nico Rosberg still leads the championship, but now only by 18 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who moved up to 2nd thanks to his win. In the Constructors' Championship, thanks to Mercedes 1-2, and McLaren finishing 6th and 9th today, Mercedes move up into the lead of the Constructors' Championship, with McLaren in 2nd position. And then it is... actually, I can't remember. Red Bull moves up to 6th in the Constructors, and I believe it is Ferrari in 3rd, with Force India 4th, maybe? And then it's Williams 5th. I actually don't know, guys. I only know the top 2 and who's in 6th, but all we know, Lotus move up to 9th despite not getting a point, and Caterham down in 11th. Even though they said Caterham would move above Marussia, that was a lie. If you look at the BBC, Marussia is still ahead. So yeah, overall, wasn't as exciting as Melbourne, but it was still a good race nonetheless. And I got my predictions right. I got the pole position and the winner correct. So you can praise me. And I'm afraid Matthew Orange got his bet wrong. In fact, way off. He said Valtteri Bottas would win the race, and that was wrong. Valtteri Bottas actually finished 8th. So it was a good race. Not the best, I would admit, but still a good race nonetheless. And yeah, that's my review of the Malaysian Grand Prix. The next round will be in Bahrain, which is in 7 days' time. So no time for celebration for Mercedes. It's straight off to the desert, where for the first time the Sakir circuit will be under lights. So we look forward to that. The first time that the Bahrain Grand Prix will be a night race. So anyway, guys, that's my review of the Malaysian Grand Prix. Please like, comment and subscribe. And be prepared, because the ITCC is coming in around 2 hours time. Just under 3 hours time. So, yeah. I have been GT5Man21. I hope you've enjoyed this review. It's not been as detailed, but hopefully in Bahrain we can have a better race. So, please put down in the comments what you thought of the result and who you think will win the next race. But overall, fully deserved for Lewis Hamilton. Both victories that Mercedes have had, Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton, they worked hard for that. Fully deserved, the pair of them. And it seems to me that it's going to be a Mercedes fight at the moment. It's early days yet, but at the moment it's looking like a Mercedes championship at the moment. So anyway, guys, that's my review of the Malaysian Grand Prix. I've been GT5Man21, and I will see you at 4:45 p.m. on Statter Willis GP for the ITCC testing day. Until then, I'm out. See ya.